to physics and chemistry. Everything is based there. Whatever you may do, everything is based on that. So this kind of reductionism is quite strong, but not as strong as it was in the last century. Last century, nobody could argue against this materialistic view. But in this century, hundreds of scientists are disproving this materialistic approach, reductionist approach, and saying there is an element other than this material system without which you can't explain human experience, human perception. These are the various scientists who are just carrying on a tremendous research on the lines which the Upanishads did ages ago. Therefore, they like the Upanishads. Whenever they get a chance to get a copy of the Upanishads, they are happy. But without Shankara's commentary, you can't understand it so easily. Even the commentary is strong, difficult enough. And so, we are dealing with a subject of profound topical importance. Any kind of morals, values in life, of truth, spirit of love and service, trustfulness in society, we need all this. On basis of materialism, you can't have any one of this. On the basis of purely the biological system, you can't have any values. I am several times quoted from Sir Julian Huxley, his very important book, Evolution, a New Synthesis. About 800 to 900 pages are there. He considers it as his best book. There he discusses values. And he says, from biology, you can't get any values. Values must be sought somewhere else. What a wonderful statement. If you base yourself purely on biology, and biology means physics and chemistry, plus something more, bio-element as we call it. Based on biology, there is no moral value, there is no human value available. In fact, he added one more idea. It is good that the mammal within us will die, so that the man within us can live. This is a language actually uses. It is a common usage in religious teaching. The Pashu Bhava must go, then only the human Bhava will come. That, how can it come? Biology is only Pashu Bhava, there is nothing else is there. How can values come? Now comes another book, which I referred to, Dawkins. And the title is The Selfish Gene. This genetic system is based on the gene, the unit of our life, is entirely selfish. It knows only its own interest. So if you build up on the genetic system a school of values, you will fail. You can never. So genetic system will not help you to develop the sense of values. And yet, at the human level, you can't do without values. Values are essential to understand the human situation. So, where do you seek as the source of these values? If it is not in the biological system, if it is not in the genetic system, it must be somewhere inside man, some spiritual dimension. That is what we also said earlier. They suggested today, search for it in such higher dimension of the human system, beyond the body, beyond the nervous system, beyond the psychic system. Beyond that, a profound focus is there. That is the spiritual dimension, where from values come. If we can study it, values will come. If this idea becomes well established, the whole of modern civilization will be transformed. It will be spiritualized. And many people are searching for it, working for it, scientists, intellectuals, writers, all over. And it is in that context we can see the relevance and the profundity of thinking of these great sages and great Shankaracharya. So he said, contradicts perception. Inference cannot contradict perception. Pratyaksha cannot contradict anumana. Now, a simple answer is given. If this aggregate be the self that does the functions of seeing, etc., how is it that, remaining as it is, sometimes performs those functions sometimes does not. That is Shankara's objection to the materialistic objection, that sometimes the body does see, sometimes it does not see. If the body is the source of all light, then why should it be sometimes it is not, sometimes it is? That question comes. The objection continues. There is nothing wrong in it, because it is an observed fact. You must accept an observed fact, whatever may be your inference. You cannot challenge facts on the ground of improbability. When you actually observe a firefly to be both luminous and non-luminous, see what example they take. Shankara's example. A firefly, sometimes luminous, sometimes not luminous. You do not have to infer some other cause for it. If, however, you do infer it from some common feature, you may as well infer anything about everything. Nobody wants that. There must be a system, a method to follow in inference. For the natural heat of fire or the cold of water is not due to any other cause. There must always be natural state of things. You have to accept that. Reply. Suppose we say this. In dreams, now Shankara is going further. Not so. For in dreams and remembrance, we notice only things seen before. You see something, then close your eyes, you remember it. What you saw, you will remember. That is the language. In dreams and in remembrance, we notice only things seen before. What the advocate of the nature theory has said about the functions of sight, etc., belonging to the body and not to the self, which is different from it, is wrong. For if these functions really belong to the body, one would not see in a dream only things already seen. See what a fine example it is. What we see now, we repeat it in dream in various forms. That is it. But he says, if the advocate of the nature theory has said that the functions of sight belonging to the body, it belongs to the body. If so, not the self, which is different from it. These functions really belong to the body. One would not see in a dream only things already seen. A blind man dreaming sees only things that he has already seen and not unfamiliar forms. Only things seen can be seen in a dream and in remembrance also. This proves, for example, he calls Shakadvipa, one of the continents, 7 continents of the ancient Hindu geography. One is called Shakadvipa, somewhere northwest area for continent. Suppose he cannot say what is there. He has not seen it. He has seen only things here, that way. He says, familiar things as things before, while the eyes were there and not the body. He says, when you see a new thing, the eyes are there, but the body is not there. If the body were the seer, it would not see in a dream only familiar sights, when the eyes, the instrument of vision, are taken out. He says that also. If the body were the seer, it would not see in a dream only familiar sights, when the eyes, the instrument of vision, are taken out. And we know that even blind men who have had their eyes taken out say, today I saw in a dream the Himalayan peak that I had seen before. He has no eyes now, but he has seen it earlier, and he says, today I had in my dream, I saw the Himalayan peak that I had seen before. Therefore, it is clear that it is not the body, but he who dreams that also saw things when the eyes were intact. Similarly, in the case of remembrance, memory, a very important subject of study in Vedanta, subject of smriti, memory. What is the meaning of memory? Subject of study. He who remembers being also the one who saw. Then only remembrance can take place. A saw and B remembered. We cannot say A saw, A remembered. B saw, B remembered. You cannot say the other way. A saw something, B remembered it. Never. The principle is the same, subject is the same person. The two are identical. Yesterday I saw this and today I see this. I am there common yesterday and today. So I am able to say memory, remembrance, etc. Thus only can a person, after shutting his eyes, remember the forms he has seen before, just as he saw them. Therefore, that which is shut is not the seer. You don't shut the seer. You shut any instrument, but the seer is always there. Otherwise, how can remember? Remembrance includes the seer still seeing. What I saw then, I see now in memory. The seer is there, but instrument may not be there. This eye may not be there. Like that blind man who saw the Himalayas in memory. So externally he cannot see, but he has got his memory, so it sees it, just as he saw them. That which is shut is not the seer, but that which, when the eyes are shut, sees forms in remembrance, must have been the seer when the eyes were open. Even when the eyes were open, that was the seer. We saw it through the eye. Eye can never be seer, because when the eye is not there, we still see in memory. Therefore, the focus of vision is not the external instrument, but something deeper. That's the main argument coming about this idea. The perception or knowledge belongs to eternal self, which is of the nature of consciousness, nature of light. Therefore, we can see things through the sense organs, through the body, mixed up through all this. We can't identify that Atman in this waking state. He is going to say, in the waking state, you cannot identify the light of the Atman when it is mixed up with hundreds of other lights here. That's why we go to dream. That's why we go to sleep, where all others are eliminated. We can see precisely the light of the Atman. That is how, in all scientific research, you have what you call a method by which you remove A, B, C, the cause of X, Y, Z, which exactly is the cause of which. Then I say, all right, let me remove Z. Then A also goes away. Then I remove the next Y. Then B goes away. Then C remains. X remains. C is the cause of X. By removing like this, we can establish causal relation. Similarly here, in the waking state, you cannot eliminate all this. It is impossible, even for experimental purpose. But your own day-to-day life gives you plenty of experimental opportunities. That is your dream. That is your sleep. Try to understand what that means. He is saying that the eyes were open. This is further proved by the fact that when the body is dead, no vision takes place. The vision belongs to the body. The body is dead, no vision takes place. The body is still there, but in death, that vision goes away. That is one. Although the body is intact, if the body itself were the seer, even a dead body would continue to see and do similar functions. Therefore, it is clear that the real agent of seeing is not the body, but that whose absence deprives the body of the power of vision. That is the self. That self which has the power of vision imparted to the body. Body sees, taking that power of the self by coming to it through the sensory system, whose presence gives it that power. Objection. Suppose the eyes and other organs themselves were the agents of vision and so forth. That is another argument from the same naturalist. The eyes and other organs are the real centers of perception. There is nothing else. Just like today's materialistic neurology will say, these brain cells, their activity, neuronal activity, they constitute knowledge. They constitute perception. There is no mind apart from the brain. There is only the brain. And the brain is material, just like any other piece of matter. That subject comes. Suppose the eyes and other organs themselves were the agents of vision and so forth. Reply, no. The remembrance that one is touching the very thing that one has seen would be impossible if there were different agents for these two acts. If two agents are there for the same act, memory is not possible. As I said earlier, if these sense organs, they are there, then they are no more there when you go to dream, and then you remember you have done it, you have seen it. How does it take place? How can these sense organs vouch for them? Sense organs were not there in that state. Even the sense organs, we can lose the sense organs like ear and eye. Still, we are able to remember what I did, I saw. These are not there, yet we remember. Therefore, there is a unity of something behind these diverse organisms that are within us. For these two sects, objection. Let us say then it is the mind. Final objection came. Mind is the agent. Senses, beyond that, is the mind. Even that is not correct. Mind, according to our theory, is material. Subtle matter is what is called mind. Mind is not something spiritual. Mind is material. In philosophical context, you can use the word mind, buddhi, all are spiritual. But essentially, they are transformation of matter, extremely subtle, transparent, which can manifest light, just like the eye ball can manifest light, though it is also mere skin. So in this way, the mind is material, according to Sankhya and Vedanta. Intelligence is only one supreme intelligence that imparts intelligence to the mind, to the senses, to everything. That one we are in search of. The whole world is in search of that one principle of intelligence. That will be beautiful language in the Upanishads, and they discovered this truth. Nityo nityanam, chetanas chetananam, eko bahunam, yo vidatare kaman, samatmastham yena pashyanti dhira, tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. Nityo anityanam, the eternal among the non-eternals. Chetanas chetananam, it is the principle of intelligence of things that are intelligent. He who realizes this truth hidden in his own self, he becomes free from unhappiness, peacelessness, suffering, etc. And this is the light of all lights. In Kathopanishad, that is the most famous utterance. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam, anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That Atman is the light of all lights. The sun cannot illumine the Atman. This is the language. Na tatra suryo bhati. The sun is illumining the whole of the solar system. But in the Atman, the sun doesn't illumine. It is the Atman's power that makes the sun illumine. Na tatra suryo bhati. Na chandra tarakam. Chandra, or the stars. Nema vidyuto, or the lightning. Kutoyam agnihi. What is because of the fire in your heart? They are nothing. They have no power to illumine this Atman. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. The Atman shines. These shines after the Atman. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By his light, the whole world is lighted. The whole suns and stars are lighted by the light of the infinite Atman of the nature of pure consciousness. It is described as the light of all lights. Jyotisham Jyoti. God is described as Jyotisham Jyoti, the light of all lights. What is this sun? Today sun shines. After 5,000 million years, it will die. Absolutely dead it will be. They are all very temporary. Long, but it is all temporary, filled with light. But there is one light which never puts out. That is pure consciousness. That is the nature of light. It's not a thing with light. It is light itself. That is the search we had. God is the light of all lights. That's why in all mystical language, God is always described as light, as Nur. The Sufi mystics will speak of the light as Nur, that infinite Nur, that is in you, in me, in all. Though in the Upanishad, you find this remarkable exposition of this concept of consciousness as the principle of light, principle of intelligence, out of which every other entity receives the light. That is the language that is used here, mind. Some light which is of the same class as the body and organs must be inferred, since the sun and the like are of the same class as the things they help. We want something apart, not of the same class, if you said so. This is wrong, for there is no hard and fast rule about this help. That is Shankara's commentary. To explain, we see that fire is kindled with the help of straw, grass, and their fuel, which are all modifications of earth. This is the normal experience. But from this, we must not conclude that everywhere it is the modification of earth that helps to light fire. You cannot conclude like that. Why? We notice that water, which belongs to a different class, helps to kindle the fire of lightning and the fire in the stomach for digestion, all coming from that source, not from this source of earth, fire, grass, etc., etc. Therefore, when something is helped by another, there is no restriction about their being of the same class or the same different classes. Sometimes men are helped by men, their own species, sometimes by animals, plants, etc., which are quite different species. Therefore, reason you adduced for your contention that the body and organs are helped by lights that are of the same class as they, like the sun, falls to the ground. That is the discussion up to this. A little more is there, then we continue with the further text. The whole of this section dealing with this deeper study to discover the Atman in experience. Why did we go to dream? Because in the waking state it is difficult to discover the Atman. It's all mixed up here. It is like 20 people talking together. You can't decipher who is talking what. But separately come to a room, you are able to see, yes, this is what you say, now I understand. So our waking state is like that. Everything is mixed up here. So if you want to see the special cause or origin or source of light, let us go to another experience. Fortunately, these experiences are universal. You did not go to the Himalayas, get some samadhi to get this experience. Every day you have this experience. Waking, dream, sleep. But in spite of it, we don't investigate. We just take for granted whatever the waking state tells you. That's why we have got shallow philosophy. Philosophy becomes deep when we take all the three levels of experience. If you only built it on one, it becomes very, very flimsy. Most of Western philosophy is flimsy for this reason, building only on the waking state, the world revealed by the waking experience. It's only one aspect of reality. Therefore, our people asked that every one of us has the infinite Atman, ever present within us. If you don't find it the waking, try to understand it through the study of dream, through sleep, etc. But the truth is, I'm quoting a famous sentence here, we are all walking over a big treasure trove below. We don't know that it is there. We walk over it every day, going to office, down below it is there, and we don't know it is there. Try to discover it. That is the language many mystics have used in connection with this. It is our own infinite self, the light of all lights. We don't take advantage of it, try to understand it, and therefore we remain what we are, very, very stationary, absolutely no progress, no creativity. This is how Upanishad trying to direct our attention to something fundamental. This is all day to day, ad hoc life, but something creative. That creativity comes from this deeper level. So we shall continue the subject next time when we meet here. During our last discourse, more than 3 weeks ago, we had studied the commentary of Shankaracharya on the subject of the Atman, that within the body there is the principle of consciousness, the Atman, which imparts intelligence, the intellect, manas, and the sense organs. None of these has intelligence on its own. They all get it from a deeper source. This whole section is dealing with this great subject, which I said last time is the key problem in modern scientific thinking. Is there a self beyond the body-mind complex? That is a question that is asked. Even the mind is not accepted by materialistic scientists, only the brain. Everything can be explained in terms of the brain. Shankara is giving various arguments to support the view that none of these can be self-explanatory. They point to something higher as the source of intelligence. That source is the self. That self, established in our intellect, makes it bright, and through the intellect, it brightens the manas and the sense organs. This is the teaching that was given in answer to Janaka's question, that this self becomes the light of man. When all the lights go away, this is the light of all lights. This is how Vedanta deals with this subject. In order to understand this, they have to study dream, that wonderful experience of dream, where the self shows its light in all aspects of the dream life. There is no external sun, external moon, nothing is there. But light is there. We function through that light. Then will come the study of deep sleep. This study of common human experience, not any mystical experience, just our own day-to-day experience, became the basis for Vedanta to develop its knowledge of the Atman as the source of all light, as of the principle of consciousness, and seeing the same principle of consciousness behind the universe as Brahman, as behind us as the Atman. Atman, Brahman are one. Consciousness is one. Cannot be two. Now, these are all very great conclusions which are appealing to various scientific thinkers of the modern period. And here, in this particular section, we were studying this subject, how none of these bodily organs can explain themselves. The question was asked, why not take the eyes and other organs themselves as the agents of vision and so forth? The eye sees by itself. It is its own energy. All that being told. This has been answered in various ways. We have to be the existence of the light depends on that of the body, has been disproved by the fact, disproved, that the light is absent in a dead body. If it is the body that gives this light, then the dead body must have the light of intelligence. It's not there. So it's not the body that gives light to the body. We see in life that people who have experienced hunger and thirst are appeased by eating and drinking. They proceed to adopt these means, expecting similar results. All this would be impossible. As a matter of fact, people who have the experience of eating and drinking infer on the ground of similarity that their hunger and thirst would be appeased if they ate and drank again and proceed to act accordingly. Your statement that this very body performs the functions of seeing, etc., has already been refuted on the ground that in dreams and remembrance, the seer is other than the body. That is a very subtle point. Body doesn't see, doesn't have this kind of organic experience, because we see that in dream and in memory, two aspects, dream and memory, the seer is other than the body. That is a wonderful idea. This body sees something there, far away, then goes somewhere else, and then it remembers that what happened there. This body is not there. This body is here now. So memory must belong to something other than the body. Body itself cannot have that memory. This also refutes the view that the light in question is something other than the self. Only the self, somewhere within the system, can explain the nature of this light, not something other than the self. All the things other than the self, we have refuted, like the sun, the moon, stars, etc., etc. The whole section deals with this light. You remember how question was asked at the beginning, by what light does a man live and work and go and return? By what light? The first answer, obvious answer, light of the sun. Suppose the sun is set, by what? Then the moon, then the stars, then the lightning, then the sound. Sound can find a way for you. All this, suppose all this is set, by what light does a man live? The light of the self. Therefore the self comes here as the residual principle of consciousness. That is the essential point. Even now, when the sun is there, actual light is the light of the self, but it is obscured by the powerful light of the sun. In this particular case, the whole waking state, you have the sun enlightening things to us. But when you go to dream, you don't see the sun there. There is another sun there. Another moon is there. Everything is there. Not this physical sun, this physical moon. And so, we study the subject of the subtlety of the self, ever-present nature. But in order to identify it, you cannot do it in the waking. There are so many other lights interfering here. So let us go to the dream. There you will see the light of the self is dominant. So also, later on, when you go to deep sleep, you experience joy. You were there, but there was no objective experience. And that light is still there, your own true light. This study revealed the Atman as the principle of intelligence, ever present in all experience. Swami Paramarthananda's lectures in my absence on Shankaracharya's beautiful stotra, there, Dakshinamurti Stotra, this subject comes up, that in all the three states, there is only one simple Atman, ever pure. Always is the I, the infinite I. Every action, every seeing, every experience is from this infinite Atman. That is your true self. That is how that book, small book, describes this idea. And then he says here, this also refutes the view that the light in question is something other than the self. There is no other light than the self, the light of the self. Your reference to firefly being sometimes luminous and sometimes not is not in point, for the appearance or disappearance of the glow is due to the contraction or expansion of its wings or other parts of the body. It closes, opens, closes, opens. We see the firefly showing this phenomenon. You said that we must admit, therefore, now we conclude that there is a light which is other than the body and within the body, and that is the self. That is the conclusion of this number 436 shloka. There is a self within the body, but other than the body. It can stay without the body also. It is out of this later development scheme of rebirth. Once you establish that something survives this physical body, then you are fully in the world of Vedantic thought. At present, in the West, it is not fully established. Nothing but the body, only the brain. When the brain dies, you bury it away, there is nothing more left of the person. That's the present condition. But volumes are coming. Just now I have got a journal that comes in the library dealing with this very subject, of various types of extra corporeal experiences outside the body. These things are being collected, studied. That magazine has just come, 3 issues have come from America. So everywhere this subject is going on. If any crucial proof is arrived at, then it will be only repeating the Hindu theory on the question that when the body dies, the Sukshma Sharira continues to exist and takes a new body. The concept of the Sukshma Sharira has not come yet in the modern thought. Sthula Sharira is there. This Sthula Sharira dies, and it is either buried or cremated. You don't keep it. But man himself is not dead. That which animated this body is not dead. Avinashitu tad vidhi. The Gita said in the 2nd chapter, Avinashitu tad vidhi, yena sarvamidam tatam. That which pervades the whole universe. Consider that as avinashi, indestructible. Everything else can be destroyed, not that one reality. Discovery of the permanent and immutable in the midst of the impermanent and immutable. That is the greatest discovery of the Upanishads, and it is in that direction much of modern thought is going. More and more materialistic scientists are leaving their old position and taking to this new position, compelled by world problems and scientific thought problems. Both are theoretical and practical considerations. We have built up this thought ages ago. We have strengthened it throughout these ages. For us it is natural. We don't say we die. The body dies. We just throw the body away. As Krishna again said in the Gita, as in the human body, you have infancy, childhood, adulthood, old age, and finally death. So also, everything in the world changes. But in the midst of all this, the one self remains untouched by all these changes. Neither infancy, nor adulthood, nor old age can touch the nature of that self. That is how Gita has given emphasis to this idea of the self. Now, the second question, another question he is asking, Yajnavalkya, Katama Atmeti, is there, Yoyam Vijnanamaya, Praneshu, Hridyantar Jyotihi, Purushaha, Samanaha San, Upav Lokau, Anusancharati, Dhyayativa, Elayativa, Sahi, Swapna Bhutva, Imam Lokam, Atikramati, Mrityo Rupani. This is the next question, taking us closer to the deeper understanding of the nature of the Atman. It says, which is the self? Katama Atmeti. Yajnavalkya is asking this question. Shankara will explain the significance of the question and the significance of the answer given by Yajnavalkya. This infinite entity, the Purusha, that is identified with the intellect and is in the midst of the organs, sense organs, intellect and sense organs. The self-effulgent light within the heart, that is intellect, assuming the likeness of the intellect, it moves between the two worlds. The world of the waking, world of dream, world of this life, world of next life. it moves, assuming the likeness of the intellect. Because it is so pure, it can take in the light of anything. He is giving the example of a gem kept near a sort of a red color, that color, this color. The gem will take all that color. It is absolutely colorless itself. It can take in all color. So the Atman is described like that. Assuming the likeness of the intellect, it moves between the two worlds. It thinks as it were. It moves, shakes as it were. It doesn't actually think. It doesn't actually shake. But because the intellect moves or shakes, we think the Atman is shaking. It thinks as it were. This is often quoted by Vedantic commentators. Jayati iva, Lelayati iva. Lelayati means moving. Jayati means thinking. It moves between the two worlds. Being identified with dreams, it transcends this world. As soon as you enter into dream, you transcend this world. You are no more in this world. Values of this world have no value in the dream world. All the millionaire property that you have in waking, in dream, they have absolutely no value. You may dream that you are absolutely a poverty-stricken fellow at that time. It transcends this world. What is this world? The forms of death. Means don't be frightened by the word death without any emotional charge. Forms of change. Constant change is called the meaning of death. So this whole world of waking is the world of death, the world of change. Nothing is stationary, nothing is permanent, changing all the time. They say in Western philosophy and our own philosophy also, you do not step into the river, same river twice. Once you step in, the next step is another river. That water is gone, new water has come. You don't have the same river. By a sort of a custom, you call it the same river. Constantly flowing water. That is the concept of change. The whole external universe is constantly changing. Parasparam anyatha svabhavo. Say, always it is constantly changing. Now Shankara comments, though the self has been proved to be other than the body and organs, yet owing to a misconception caused by the observation that things which help others are the same class as they. We thought so. Things that help others must be of the same class. Shankara had already answered, no such rule is there. He is going to say now, man can be helped by man. Man can be helped by animals also. That's what he is going to say. Janaka cannot decide whether the self is just one of the organs or something different, and therefore asks, which is the self? Katama atmeti? It's a question. The misconception is quite natural because it's so subtle subject. The logic involved is too subtle to grasp easily. Although the self has been proved to be other than the body, yet all the organs appear to be intelligent. Eyes are intelligent, ears are intelligent, so we are naturally tempted to consider, oh, this is intelligent, this is intelligent. As Ramakrishna gives the example of children going to the kitchen and seeing potato pieces jumping in the water on the hearth. Mother, potato is jumping, potato is jumping. Mother says it's not potato that jumps, there is fire below that makes the potato jump. It has no power to jump by itself. Similarly here also, all the sense organs are very active, as if intelligent. It is not theirs. It belongs to some other source. That is what is said. Misconception. All the organs appear to be intelligent.